What is going on, money team? Or should I say, discipline over dopamine team? It's your boy Jada on Trades with Team Bull Trading, and I hope you all had a blessed and discipline filled trading day. We are live and back in action with another trading recap where I'm going to break down the 4 trades I took today. 2 winners, 1 break even, which was technically a winner. It was 10 points, but nonetheless didn't make us much. And 1 loser. Yes, we talk about the losers here too. I'm going to break down my exact strategy, how I made over $1,600 trading it, and everything you need to know to apply to your trading as soon as tomorrow. So that being said, if you do get some value from this video, all I ask is you tap in, hit that subscribe button, and check out the links below. Got funding leaks, mentorship, and everything in between for value for you guys. It is Free Friday tomorrow in Team Bull, so at a minimum, tap in, join the free Discord, and let's trade live together and try to make our win streak into 58 trading days in a row. Now, to start the day off, as usual, no trades for the first 15 minutes for me. However, I have been incorporating the 15-minute chart into my trading quite a lot. So, as you can see here, my morning game plan was simple. I wanted to watch that 300 area on NQ for a short as my macro level, and I also was watching the 585 zone on SPY. A little different, you'd be trading ES for this, but I was going to watch 585 initially on SPY. And if we go here to our 5-minute chart, let's just go here and check out what happened our first round at 585. Let's see here, it's not showing me. There we go. Extended trading hours makes it a little easier to look at. Check this out. We run up to 585 to a T, aggressively move down. That is the power of macro levels, my friend. We'll go over that in a bit. But what I want to share with you guys is how I first off started on a slump, because I was watching the 15-minute chart, as I do, and we go here. We came up to my macro level of 300. Now, I never take shorts on the touch of a level. I always want to wait for confirmation. So I see this aggressive wick up, aggressive failure down, and I'm waiting for this 15-minute to close, very weak, so I can take shorts on the next pop-up, have stops above this candle, and move down. Telling Team Bull live in real time, I'm watching for a pop-up to 285 to 290 preferably, so I have about 30, 40 points of risk. We don't get there. We get to 284 and aggressively move down. So that's a little frustrating. I end up missing my aggressive short to the downside, but nonetheless, you can see macro level touch, aggressive pin bar, good volume on the sell-off, less volume on the move up. Yes, it's a bigger green, but it's less than the previous candle. And for how large this candlestick is, it should have had more volume. All those things in between, there was too much risk at this candle close. Here I would have had to have had 50, 60 points, which means I need a 100-point plus trade to make that profitable. Not the type of setup I want. I want 20 to 30 points so I can have a 50, 60, 70-point win to make that 2 to 3R. Sometimes I'll go 1R where I have 20 points of risk. I'll take a trim at 20 points, hoping for more on the next trims. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Now, where I get my first good trade, where I get over 20 points, and this thing ended up going a solid 30. It wasn't a great trade, but it was a good trade, was we move on down, we bounce around this 15-minute high. We, of course, have that marked out, our 15-minute high of our orb. Let's go ahead and mark that out. And as soon as we move down and aggressively move back up with solid volume, I know there's a high probability that we will make the next round up and at least test these wick highs. So I enter calls right here around 230, filled around 229. Great fill on here, 229, 230. We have extended volume on this candle. You can see we reclaimed that 15-minute previous high. We had a few bounces here, but no entries for me. Price looked too weak in the tape. We enter here, get a nice solid move up to 62, so over 30 points. I end up selling at about 20, and then we get stopped out at break even. So that was my first good trade in terms of execution, because we had volume confirmation. We reclaimed the 15-minute high. This was a setup where if you see this, a lot of times you'll see us come and then get the aggressive move further. The problem with a lot of you guys is you'll take the setup and then you'll let it run all the way to the bottom. Your risk reward will be flawed and you'll ruin your trade. You'll end up taking a bigger loss than you should. That's why I am so strict and so disciplined on taking my trims and setting my stops to break even. I wanted more out of this. I was hoping that we could trend up, show some good strength, and then keep moving on up and trend to high a day. Didn't quite work out. We'll take it. Now, I want to next go over the trade I lost. There's really no point to going over the break-even trade because it just wasn't a very good trade. I made a little money, but Wasn't very great. The loss here was we had this aggressive move up, right? We were moving on up, and in the midst of this candle, right around this 310, we were moving on up here on the 5 minute. I thought to myself, after we wicked up, we'd come make a higher low in here and then test this high a day and break through. Volume looked okay. It was holding up decently. It didn't look great, but it was holding up decently for how these candlesticks looked. There was barely any wicks to the downside. Aggressively up, minimal selling. And unfortunately, I entered at 310, kept my stops at 290, so 20 points of risk. I did go wider on this trade. Nonetheless, I ended up getting stopped out on stream. Yes, I take losses, and yes, I post them. And the reason for this trade, I don't typically trade breakouts, but oftentimes when you see a pretty sweet reversal like this with aggressive volume, you have a higher low here. Let me go ahead and put this rectangle. Okay, we have a swing low here, higher low here, higher lows here, decent wick up. I was hoping to catch some momentum, rip through this high a day, and continue on up to 340s and 350s, which would have been a solid risk-reward trade. 40-plus points, 2R. Didn't work out, got stopped, but I honored my stop. I always honor my stops, guys. I can visualize my risk on every trade. On every single trade, I'm visualizing my risk, and that's what makes me a profitable trader. Now, I don't let this get me down. On my next trade, this was my overall biggest trade of the day in terms of points. I'm looking at this 15-minute chart. I just lost this trade in here. Aggressive sell-off from previous supply, previous resistance at 300. Okay, so once we have this candle down, I see this pop up here, a little more movement down at around 250 to 255. I take the shorts in here. You can see it better on the 5-minute chart. Around 250 to 255, I take the shorts in here. I keep my stops above this 267 area, above this candle high. Worst case, 270. And I'm looking for 200 retest on this trade. I'm looking for a 200 retest. So I have a solid 2.53R on this. Price is looking like it wants to move down. Our 15-minute confirmed, our 5 minutes confirming. Price looks like it's weak to the downside. We have the wicks up, the failures to go higher. We failed this 260 level. I really wanted to see that. That was a big level of confluence during the day. We get the short, and we ride this puppy down. Flawless execution. I mean, flawless on that trade. Yes, it was with less size, but in terms of keeping my composure after a loss, I'm always proud of myself when I can get a solid trade, regroup, not let the loss affect me, keep my discipline over dopamine intact, and execute. And that, my friends, was a beautiful, beautiful trade. I was watching for this end of the day action as well, but no trades for me here. I typically don't trade the last 10 minutes of the day. I find that I don't have an edge. And even so on Power Hour, I'm very, very hesitant with my trades if I'm already green for the day, or red, vice versa. If I'm green, I really don't like to give that back during Power Hour. I mean, why force trades? Unless there's an A+ setup that fits the system, why force trades? There's no point to it. Now, I told you guys, if you've been watching, that I'd go back over SPY for you and go over the macro levels, which of course I will happily do. Now, if you go here, 1D, 1 day, there we go. You can see here, whoops, we don't want that. We want this. Okay. You can see here on SPY, right? This bottom wick here before this aggressive move up in the middle of this impulse candle was at 585. So I'm always looking for where the breakout was, where the retest was, and then where the lower high potentially could be. So 585 to 586 looked good on that time frame. Let's go down to the hourly chart. Let's see how we're doing there. Again, we go here. This is where it retested. What is happening at this 585, 586 level? This is where we aggressively shot up, found our small support, moved on up, and then had an aggressive move through. So whenever I see that, I want to see us come up, retest, move on down. Obviously, we ended up breaking it a little, and then aggressive move down in a day. So this chart, to me, it looks like if we break this 581, we have a good amount of room down. I'm halfway tempted to swing puts for this gap fill down. Obviously, at any point, whoops, I didn't realize that wasn't showing. At any point, we could get tariff news that rips us, but I think that we see this gap fill to the downside, and that's what I'm going to be looking for in the coming trading days. I'd love to see that happen tomorrow. I would love to see that happen tomorrow before a long weekend for Memorial Day. So keep trading smart, keep trading safe. Again, all the strategy in the world is out there. It boils down to consistency, focus, and discipline. Do those things, master the mind, master that person in the mirror, master what your system is, get it down to a T, make it automatic, and that's when the profits start coming. Trade smart, trade safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless.